Around the world, about 1.5 million species have been formally cataloged, and in 2017 alone, over 18,000 were discovered. But despite this huge number, they believe we've only uncovered 14% of the entire planet's species. So with 86% still unaccounted for, it's very possible there are creatures, even monsters, we have yet to meet. These are 5 Asian cryptid creatures and animals. Number 5. Yeren, Hubei Province, China. Called the Chinese Wildman, sightings of the Yeren were first reported in the dense forests of Hubei Province in China. The majority of the sightings describe the creature as having reddish-brown hair, much like that of orangutan. White yerens have also been spotted, however, these are very rare. They walk on 2 feet. The creature has a large jaw with a sunken face, bulbous nose with upturned nostrils and horse-like teeth. They're estimated to reach heights between 6 and 8 feet tall, and most are said to be friendly but reserved around people and will simply walk away when they encounter one. As for what the creature is exactly, cryptozoologists believe they could be a descendant of the hominid Gigantopithecus, which was known to inhabit the region thousands of years ago. Others say the Yeren could simply be a misidentified orangutan, or even an altogether new ape species that's bipedal and ground-dwelling. In Chinese folklore, these creatures are said to originate from ordinary men who escaped the back-breaking and unforgiving work of the Great Wall construction in 206 BC. They retreated and escaped into the dense jungles, and over time have evolved to become hairier and more wild. It's said they still retain their capacity for speech and would occasionally venture out of the forest to ask if the Great Wall had been completed. Despite being told it was finished, they would still retreat back into the forest, apparently preferring it as their home. There's a very interesting story about a woman who claimed to have actually been kidnapped and raped by a Yeren several years ago. She was held captive for years and eventually gave birth to a Yeren-human hybrid. Chinese researchers have created countless documentaries trying to understand the supposed offspring's behavior and whether there is truth to what the mother has said. In one documentary, it showed an extremely tall man who seems to act more ape-like instead of human, which I'll link down below in the description. There are also other stories of hunters and park rangers in the nature reserves in Hubei Province. One ranger, who has lived there for 15 years, once spotted a creature sleeping on a hillside in April of 1994. Unsure of what he was looking at, he grabbed a pair of binoculars and called out to the creature to wake it up. It then got up, staying in place for a while just staring at the ranger before eventually walking away on 2 feet. He described it as being 6 feet tall with reddish-brown hair, and he was certain that it wasn't a bear or ape. Another hunter claimed he captured a small Yeren in the 1980s, but had to let it go out of pity as he saw its eyes fill up with tears. One local cow herder said a Yeren took hold of his wrist, hung on to it for a half hour, and just laughed. Aside from locals, government officials have also spotted these creatures. The most influential was on May 14, 1976, when 6 regime officials encountered one, which led to a full-scale expedition by the government. During this time, there were over 400 footprints collected. Some were later identified to be that of bears and apes, except for a particular set of footprints that didn't belong to any known species on record. Number 4. Ise, Lake Ikeda, Japan. Ise is a creature said to inhabit the mysterious Lake Ikeda on Kyushu Island in Japan. It was first spotted on September 3, 1978, when Yutaka Kawaji, along with more than 20 members of his family, were near the lake. It was Kawaji's children that first noticed 2 large black gliding humps in the waters as they played by the lake shore. Soon, Kawaji grabbed a motorboat and tried his best to follow after the creature. The family who witnessed it said that the 2 humps measured close to 16 feet long and were above the water approximately 2 feet. Despite chasing it, he never managed to capture the creature as it was too fast for him and his boat. By December of that same year, Toshiaki Matsuhara captured a photograph of what is supposed to be issy in the lake. At around 1:30 p.m., he witnessed a whirlpool forming in the water. He followed this with a telescope for 5 minutes until it eventually disappeared. Minutes after the whirlpool had gone, he scanned the lake hoping to find it again and noticed a moving object partially hidden by the waves. He grabbed his camera and took photographs, and in them, you could make out some sort of ridged details and humps. By then, stories of the lake creature had spread, and the tourism board in the nearby cities offered reward money to anyone that could take a photo of the monster. By 1991, a video showing a 30-foot creature swimming in the lake was broadcast on a TV special. It sparked more interest in issy, drawing comparison to the famous Loch Ness Monster of Scotland. Some suggest that issy might be an extinct dinosaur, much like that of Nessie, but others say it might be an overgrown Malaysian eel. Lake Ikeda commercially farmed eels on its lake shores for some time, so that could provide a possible explanation. However, they've never grown as large as what people say they've seen. Another important fact is that this lake is a caldera lake, meaning its main source comes from rain and subsurface water. It has no outlets to the oceans and located above sea level, making it likely that whatever is in the lake was introduced there instead of originating from another body of water. The creature still draws plenty of tourists to the quiet and serene area, and today, the existence of issy remains a complete mystery. Number 3. Tsukinoko, Kyushu, Japan. Better known for its appearance in the video game Metal Gear Solid, the Tsukinoko is one of the rarest and earliest recorded cryptids from Japan. The first mention of it was first noted in the 8th century text called the Kojiki, which is regarded as Japan's oldest textbook. Reported sightings of it are well known throughout much of western Japan, and in the northeastern portion of Japan it's termed as bachihibi. It's said to be found in deep remote mountain areas and is often described to look much like a snake. It can grow around 2 to 3 feet in length. The scales are that of a snake, but it has a wider, flatter body compared to its tail or head. It often comes in a black or rust color with a bright underbelly in most sightings. It also has big eyes, described as mesmerizing by those who have seen it, and includes fangs and venom like that of a viper. Other accounts mention that the animal can squeak and also jump up to a meter high. It's also a very good swimmer, and one other account says that it smells the same as a chestnut tree whenever it flowers. In terms of abilities, the Tsukinoko undulates instead of using a side-to-side movement seen in most snakes. Some say it also moves by placing its tail in its mouth and rolling, similar to how the hoop snake gets around as described in American legends. Folktales portray it as having the ability of speech. It's better known for being mischievous and often lying to travelers or trying to confuse them. Legends say that the only way to keep them quiet is to give them alcohol, which they have a fondness for. Sightings of this mysterious creature have been reported by farmers and villagers alike. One witness in May of 2000 said that it had a snake-like body but a face similar to that of a Doraemon, which is a famous Japanese cartoon cat. He tried hitting it several times and managed to injure it, but ultimately it escaped. Days later, a 72-year-old woman from the same area saw the dead creature by a stream and buried it. When she realized how important it was, she dug it up and sent the body to Kawasaki University of Medical Welfare to be identified. Although details about the findings are vague, the professor who examined it said that it was a kind of snake, but was unsure whether it was the legendary Tsukinoko. Today, the hunt for the Tsukinoko continues. A lot of local cities and villages actually offer large amounts of money for people to come and hunt for this legendary creature. Number 2. Lake Tianqi Monster, China. Known as Heaven's Lake, Lake Tianqi in the Changbai Mountains in China not only draws tourists for its gorgeous beauty, but also for what supposedly lives underneath its waters. This lake is known to be the biggest and deepest volcanic lake in all of China. It measures 6 square miles and rises above the sea level, 7,200 feet. Its deepest parts reach down 1,220 feet, and its average depth is around 670 feet. Somewhere, down below, is said to lie an unusual cryptid that's been simply named the Lake Tianqi Monster. For years, reports of a lake monster residing in the water have been given by witnesses. The first reported sightings were over a century ago in 1903 when a large bull-like creature attacked 3 individuals. It was shot 6 times but managed to retreat back into the water. Another report in August of 1962 told of 2 monsters in the lake that were chasing one another. This was cited by a person using a telescope, but it turns out hundreds of others also saw the incident. The Lake Tianqi monster is described as having a head similar to that of a human attached to its long neck. The neck can measure up to 5 feet long, and the rest of its skin is smooth and bears a dull gray color with a white ring around its neck. The most recent sightings of the beast were in September of 2007. A TV reporter was on top of the southern slope of the mountain hoping to capture a glimpse of the sunrise. He wasn't able to do it because of the clouds, but as they descended, they had a clear view of the lake close to the mountain base. It was then when one of his guides pointed to the water and shouted in amazement. Something large and black had emerged from the lake, followed by several others. The reporter focused his camera and followed what was now 5 black forms that had emerged from the water. The witnesses described the figures as being seal-like as they swam and frolicked for over 30 minutes in the cold lake. He said they swam fast like yachts and would sometimes disappear underwater for long periods of time. Images of the incident did emerge, and although they are difficult to tell, it's clear something can be seen moving. Most researchers and scientists believe that Lake Tianqi isn't capable of sustaining large creatures because of its history as an active volcano and how the water can get quite cold for creatures to live in. Whatever the case, there's no denying something is definitely in there, thriving somewhere in the depths of Heaven's Lake. Number 1. Yeti, Nepal and Tibet. No cryptid has maintained the public's fascination more than the Yeti. Ever since it was first reported, it has captivated people from all over the world. Originating from Nepalese folklore, the Yeti is described as an ape-like creature, bearing a large frame and often inhabiting the cold mountain regions of the Himalayas in Tibet and Bhutan. According to researchers, there are 3 types of Yetis. The first is dubbed as the Nyalmo, which is the tallest at 15 feet and is highly aggressive. It has long black hair and is said to be a man-eater. They often kill yaks by holding their horns and twisting their necks. The Shuti, on the other hand, is about 8 feet tall with shorter necks and small feet. They eat meat and plants and are said to live somewhere between 8,000 to 10,000 feet above sea level. The third is the Banhakri. This is dubbed as the forest shaman because they inhabit the woods in the lower altitudes of the Himalayas. These are also the smallest at 3 to 5 feet tall, with long red or golden hair. Many believe the variety and sightings of the Yetis, along with the diversity in their appearance, makes the classifications possible. However, others propose that they are the same animal that simply go down to lower altitudes during wintertime because of the lack of food. Regardless, the Yeti is generally described as having a cone-shaped head with sunken eyes. Their faces are droopy and wrinkled like that of an orangutan, except that the Nyalmo has long black hair that covers its face. The female Nyalmo can be distinguished by its large breasts, which are said to hang below its belly. They also feature long arms with short legs and are believed to be nocturnal. In 1974, a yak herder from a remote valley in the Everest region said that she was attacked by a Yeti. She explained that the creature was about 5 feet tall and threw her some distance. It proceeded to kill her yaks by taking their horns and twisting the necks. The Nepali police took her report seriously following the assault and a reporter even took photos of what looked like Yeti footprints. A short time later, a Polish and Japanese base camp also reported being attacked by a similar-looking creature. Although most Yeti sightings come from the Sherpas, there are several climbers and foreigners said to have had encountered and even attempted to hunt for the mysterious creature as well. Some say it could be a Gigantopithecus similar to that of the Yeren, but living in the Himalayas. Others say it could be a type of bear that has never been discovered as a species just yet. Whatever it may be, the Yeti remains a very elusive and intriguing Asian cryptid. So there were 5 Asian cryptid creatures and animals. In this planet, there's still so many creatures whose existence remains in the shadows. The animals on this list are often delegated to myth and folklore, but it's also possible that we just simply haven't officially found them yet. If you like this video, then remember to subscribe to our channel because we have new videos coming out every week that we know you'll enjoy. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.